Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intense and explosive showdowns in Beyond the Gates. In the heart of Fairmont Crest, two powerful women, Nicole and Leslie, are locked in a battle for control, reputation, and survival. The tension between them has been simmering for months, but now it's reached its boiling point. What started as a simple disagreement has quickly escalated into a high-stakes game of power, manipulation, and betrayal. In this video, we'll explore the shocking events that led to their explosive confrontation, the dark past that still haunts both women, and what could be the devastating fallout of this deadly war for dominance. But the real question remains, will Nicole manage to turn the tables and reclaim control, or will Leslie succeed in pushing her into the depths of despair? Stick around as we break down every twist, every turn, and make bold predictions on what happens next. Trust me, you won't want to miss this, because in Fairmont Crest, nothing is ever as it seems, and everyone has something to lose. Let's get into it. At Fairmont Crest, a once serene community now vibrates with tension. It's a place where power struggles, deep-seated grudges, and family loyalties are tested at every corner. The peace of this community is shattered once again, this time, by an explosive confrontation between Nicole and Leslie at Orphy Jean's, the popular restaurant that has witnessed many high-profile moments in Fairmont Crest. Leslie, ever the provocateur, does not hesitate. Her words pierce the quiet air, calculated and biting, aimed directly at Nicole. The once quiet undercurrent of animosity between them now bubbles to the surface in an exchange that feels anything but coincidental. Leslie has been waiting for this moment, the opportunity to assert dominance and control the narrative. She's always been the one in the shadows, manipulating, pulling the strings, but now she wants the world to see her strength. And who better to target than Nicole? Nicole, on the other hand, has been living in the shadow of her own past, one that Leslie knows all too well. Nicole's once promising life has been turned upside down after the revelation about Eva and Ted. The scandal surrounding the affair has become the gossip of Fairmont Crest, and it's clear that Leslie intends to keep the pressure on. Eva, a figure of innocence in this messy drama, is now the center of a storm that no one can ignore. But for Nicole, the affair was never just about a betrayal, it was about survival. For years, Nicole has played the game, carefully balancing between the image she wants to project and the secrets she has to keep hidden. But Leslie has seen through it all. And she's no longer content with letting Nicole remain in the background. This encounter isn't just a verbal sparring match, it's the opening salvo in a much larger power struggle. Leslie isn't just targeting Nicole's reputation, she's attacking her very foundation. And Nicole? She's not backing down. This time, she won't be the victim. She's learned from the past, and she's ready to take control of the situation, to turn the tables. In a calculated move, she matches Leslie's aggression with her own brand of cold, calculated dominance. This is no longer a battle for the truth, it's a battle for power. As the confrontation escalates, the ripple effect spreads. June watches from the sidelines, sensing the tension in the air. The history between her and Leslie is one of complicated entanglements, and the tension in the room only highlights the fractures in their long-standing relationship. Eva, oblivious to the full extent of the drama, is dragged into the whirlwind as whispers of the confrontation quickly spread through the community. The stakes couldn't be higher. Leslie has one goal: to solidify her power and influence in Fairmont Crest. She's already working behind the scenes to position herself as a leader, and now, with Nicole weakened, she senses an opportunity to rise to the top. Nicole, on the other hand, must fight to protect not only her personal reputation but also her family's standing. The pressure mounts as she walks the fine line between keeping her moral integrity intact and doing whatever it takes to maintain her position. But as each confrontation intensifies, one thing becomes clear: Leslie's attacks are just the beginning. Nicole might have held her ground today, but the battle is far from over. The war is just beginning, and with each move, the stakes grow higher. Both women are walking a tightrope, and one wrong move could lead to a fall from grace. The fallout from that first explosive confrontation quickly reverberates through the social circles of Fairmont Crest. What started as a simple argument has now turned into a full-blown war. As Nicole and Leslie face off, the rest of the community watches with bated breath, knowing that the outcome of this clash will reshape the power dynamics forever. Nicole has always been careful, measured in her decisions, but Leslie's sharp words have broken the illusion of control. The mask that Nicole wore so well has cracked, revealing the vulnerability she's been desperately trying to hide. Leslie, knowing this, seizes the opportunity to attack. Her words cut deep, and her attacks continue to undermine Nicole in the eyes of everyone around her. She capitalizes on Nicole's past mistakes, twisting the narrative in such a way that it leaves Nicole defenseless, vulnerable to the scrutiny of those she's worked so hard to impress. Vanessa, who has always been somewhat of an ally to Nicole, now finds herself drawn into the conflict. The relationship between Nicole and Vanessa has always been a complicated one, friendly, yet always tinged with underlying tension. Now, the dynamics between the two are reaching a breaking point. As Vanessa becomes more involved in the drama, she begins to question her own loyalty to Nicole. Is it worth it to stay by her side if doing so means being dragged down by the fallout of a battle that seems increasingly unwinnable? The pressure mounts for Nicole as she faces not just Leslie but also the growing discontent within her own circle. June, a wildcard in this chaotic scenario, begins to make moves of her own. She's not just a passive observer anymore. Her past with Leslie means that she knows exactly how to exploit the cracks in the armor of both women, and she's not afraid to play her cards when the time is right. At the same time, Eva, oblivious to the fact that she's now a pawn in this dangerous game, unknowingly stirs the pot even further. Her relationship with Ted becomes a point of contention, especially as the revelations about her connection to Nicole unfold. The whispers about her paternity grow louder, and suddenly, she's no longer just the innocent bystander. She's a key player in a game that none of them can win without devastating consequences. As each day passes, the tension in Fairmont Crest continues to rise. Leslie's attacks have been strategic, calculated, and effective. She's managed to isolate Nicole, stripping away her allies one by one, until it's just Nicole against the world. The battle has never been more dangerous, and Nicole is beginning to realize the true cost of the fight. Her reputation, her family's future, and even her sanity are all on the line. But Leslie, too, is walking a fine line. As she pushes Nicole further into despair, she risks making enemies of everyone around her. Vanessa is already questioning her loyalty, and June's unpredictable behavior could turn the tide in unexpected ways. Leslie's hunger for power is growing, but it's becoming clear that her ambitions might ultimately be her undoing. She's maneuvering to claim victory, but the price may be too high. In the end, both women are trapped in a spiral of their own making. Nicole's desperation pushes her to make increasingly risky decisions, while Leslie's cruelty isolates her from her own support system. As the stakes continue to rise, the community of Fairmont Crest watches, knowing that whoever wins this battle will ultimately be left standing alone. The questions linger in the air: who will emerge victorious? And at what cost? Nicole might be forced to sacrifice everything she's fought for, or she could discover a new, darker side to herself that will change everything. Leslie, too, may find that in her pursuit of power, she's lost more than she could ever have imagined. As this power struggle unfolds, one thing is certain: no one in Fairmont Crest will ever be the same. As the battle between Nicole and Leslie intensifies, the stakes become unbearably high, and the toll of the conflict begins to take a visible toll on both women. Each move they make seems to lead them down a darker path, one where there are no easy victories, only escalating consequences. The facade of control that both have fought so hard to maintain is slowly crumbling, revealing the vulnerabilities and weaknesses that they had long hidden from the world. For Nicole, the pressure of the ongoing battle is beginning to break her. She was always the one who held the reins of her family's legacy, the one who stood proudly in the light, but now, every step she takes feels like she's slipping deeper into a pit she can't escape. The public revelations about her affair with Ted, a scandal that once seemed like a fleeting moment of weakness, has now become the very thing that haunts her. Leslie's words, sharp and unrelenting, have only served to keep the wound open, reminding Nicole at every turn of the betrayal and the shame that has now become part of her story. At first, Nicole believed she could weather this storm, that she could outlast Leslie's attacks by simply holding on to her dignity. But the longer the battle rages on, the more desperate she becomes. The isolation grows, as her friends and allies start to distance themselves, seeing her as a liability, someone they can't afford to be associated with. Vanessa, once a close ally, begins to question her loyalty to Nicole. Every move Nicole makes seems to make her situation worse, pushing people away and drawing even more attention to her every misstep. As Vanessa pulls back, Nicole realizes just how alone she truly is. There's no one left to turn to. No one who hasn't already been pulled into the vortex of chaos Leslie has expertly created. But Nicole is not the only one feeling the heat. Leslie, though outwardly confident and poised, is also beginning to feel the weight of her manipulations. For all her scheming and power plays, she's walking a fine line, and each step she takes seems to pull her further away from the very thing she seeks, control. The community of Fairmont Crest is divided, and Leslie's attempts to consolidate her power have left her with fewer allies than she anticipated. The whispers grow louder behind her back, and the very people she's tried to elevate through her manipulation now look at her with suspicion. June, who has always kept her distance, now seems to be playing a more dangerous game of her own, positioning herself as an unpredictable force in this drama. Leslie's own past is coming back to haunt her. She's spent so long crafting the illusion of a woman who knows what she wants, who always has a plan, that she's forgotten the core of what she's really after. Power. Control. A place at the top of the hierarchy of Fairmont Crest. But now, as the walls close in around her, Leslie begins to question if the cost of all this power is too high. She's alienated nearly everyone she cares about, and she's left with only the hollow feeling of a victory that might not even be worth claiming. In the midst of the turmoil, Eva, the innocent pawn in this war, is left to pick up the pieces of her own shattered world. The revelations about her connection to Nicole are unsettling, but they're only the tip of the iceberg. The truth about Eva's paternity, the accusations, the whispers behind her back, all of it is slowly wearing her down. Leslie sees Eva as a weakness, an easy target to be manipulated and discarded when the time is right, but Eva isn't as helpless as Leslie thinks. The battle for her identity, her place in the world, has just begun. And as Leslie continues to push her into the corner, Eva is forced to confront the painful reality that she has to fight for herself. In the face of these personal and public battles, Nicole finds herself at a breaking point. The tension within her family is unbearable. Her relationship with Ted has always been fraught with complications, but now, it's become something she can barely stand to look at. The affair, the scandal, the endless whispers, everything is breaking apart. Nicole is left questioning everything she's ever believed about herself. The image she once held so dear, the perfect facade of a woman in control, is shattered beyond recognition. The pressure is suffocating, and every day feels like a new weight on her shoulders, dragging her further into a pit of despair. The Dupree family, once a symbol of wealth and power in Fairmont Crest, is now fractured. The cracks in Nicole's armor have become too large to ignore, and those around her are starting to see her for what she really is, a woman on the edge of losing everything. Her family's legacy, once something she could rely on, is now her biggest liability. The whispers about her past, the constant reminder of her failures, have left Nicole vulnerable to the manipulations of those like Leslie, who know exactly where to strike. The very people she once counted on are now standing on the sidelines, watching her fall, unsure if they should lend a hand or watch her drown. But as Nicole spirals further into despair, there is a shift. A flicker of resolve. Leslie may have pushed her to the brink, but in that desperation, Nicole finds a new strength. This isn't the end for her, it's a turning point. If Leslie thinks she's won, she's gravely mistaken. The power she so desperately seeks may be slipping out of her grasp, and Nicole's fight isn't over. The anger, the shame, the humiliation, it's all building inside her, and it's only a matter of time before it all explodes. But even as Nicole gathers her strength, the damage is done. The community of Fairmont Crest has been forever changed by the actions of both women. What was once a place of secrets, alliances, and untold power is now a battlefield. And in the end, no one will walk away unscathed. Leslie and Nicole may be at the center of this conflict, but Fairmont Crest itself is the true victim. The town that once thrived on its quiet, controlled facade is now a place of division, distrust, and fear. The war between these two women is far from over, and the final chapter of this story is still to be written. But as the stakes rise higher, and their futures become more uncertain, one thing is clear: the consequences of their actions will haunt them forever.